Here's an interesting story. The mayor of a town called Winter Garden, Florida, they recently passed a proclamation honoring the Day of Prayer, which today's May 1st. It was today, the Day of Prayer. So a local resident named Joseph Richardson, he emailed the city a few weeks ago, and he said, I would like you to issue a proclamation for the Day of Reason. Now, this Joseph Richardson is a member of the Central Florida Free Thought community. They do a lot of stuff like this. And when he sent his email, he actually included text of the Day of Reason proclamation. And I just want you to read some of this because it's very formulaic, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Whereas the principles of reason, critical thinking, and the scientific method are fundamental to the pursuit of knowledge, the advancement of society, and the betterment of humankind. Like, right, we're basically promoting reason, critical thinking, no discrimination, yay, First Amendment. And then this is the part he added at the bottom for the mayor to sign. Therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor John Reese, do hereby proclaim May 1st as a National Day of Reason, urging all citizens to reflect on the importance of critical thinking, to engage in open and respectful dialogue, and to uphold the principles of secular democracy. It's a wordy proclamation, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just saying, hey, let's keep being awesome. So what happened when Joseph sent in that request? Well, by the way, if you think that's anti-religious, what you're saying is promoting critical thinking is apparently a knock on faith. And I think that says more about you than us, but all right. But anyway, if you're going to say yes to a proclamation for the Day of Prayer, you might as well say yes to this proclamation, because if you say yes and you just sign some paperwork, I promise you no one's going to notice. But if you say no, a lot of people will notice. And that's pretty much what happened here. Because the morning after Joseph Richardson sent in that request, the city clerk responded to him with a short message. And here's what it said. Proclamations are at the pleasure of Mayor Reese and presented to him for consideration by our city manager, John Williams. Your request is being forwarded to both of them for review. Okay, fine. Go send it off to them and let them put their stamp on it, right? But 2 weeks later, after he sent that email, Joseph Richardson had still not heard back from the city. So he emailed the clerk back and he's like, hey, what happened to my proclamation? And the response he got is that the proclamation you have requested, as noted in this communication, is not on the April 24th, 2025 agenda. So that was a polite way of saying, yeah, we're not doing it. We're not putting it on the agenda. We're not voting on it. We're not doing anything with it. There you go. So he writes back. He's like, well, what was wrong with it that you're not considering it? And all of a sudden, he stopped getting responses altogether. So then, what happens at that April 24th meeting? Turns out there's a local journalist named Noreen Dworkin, and she runs a publication called Vox Populi, which covers Winter Garden, Florida. And so she heard about this issue. So she showed up to that meeting because there's a section for public comment. And she thought, well, when I get a chance to speak, I want to ask the mayor why he said no to this proclamation. The mayor's going to be right there. By the way, this right here, this is John Reese, the mayor. She's like, he's going to be right there. So I'll ask him why he said no to this. So what happened at that meeting? She had her time, and I'm going to read some of this to you. I'll read some of it to you, then I'll play you a clip. But she asked him, Mr. Mayor, what is objectionable about this proclamation? Reese responds, I think the city manager answered you, and I'll let it go at that. And Dworkin said, well, if we embrace the Day of Prayer, how is the Day of Reason different? To which Reese says, a thank you. Then she said, well, I have one more question that I did not ask the city manager, and I will ask you. And he says, send it the right way, send it right. And she says, I did, you don't respond. And he says, well, to be honest with you, I don't read anything you write. I'll tell you that. I think I told you that once before. She says, yes, sir, you did. He says, I don't read anything you write. I see no point in it. A thank you. So this dude is just being a dick to her. And like, I don't like you. I'm not listening to you. I don't read anything you say. he totally reads what she says and he's not happy with it, right? And then she keeps, at some point he says, your time is up. And she's like, no, I don't think it is yet. So she just keeps asking questions because she's a journalist, right? And she says, how is this not seen as the mayor imposing your own religious views on the committee? And he says, I'm not imposing anything. She says, you are. And then the mayor says, we passed a resolution as part of this council. We passed a resolution in 2022 that addressed all of it, that covered it. And what he's implying is that in 2022, they passed a resolution recognizing the value of DEI, which was cool at the time, right? They recognized diversity and equity and inclusion. And he's implying we passed that resolution, so liberals should shut up. You got what you wanted. Why are you still here? And the journalist, Dworkin, she says, really? The DEI resolution covered it? How is there equity? And he says, end of discussion. And she says, all right, end of discussion. Thank you. I appreciate your comments. And she walks away. Because again, I wanted her to fight, but she's not there to fight. She's not an activist. She's a journalist. I want to play for you what happened right after that, though. Because after she left, the mayor could have gone on to the next person, but he decided to keep talking. And let me show you what he said. He mumbles a little bit, but I think you could still understand what he's saying.
I'm going to say one other thing. Probably shouldn't, but we've been said here for 100, 200 times and been ignored. And so they're ignored, and get upset. And it's my opinion that a couple of them showed no respect for God, no respect for our country, no respect for our flag, no respect for our Pledge of Allegiance, and no respect for the City Commission. And I better just say that's sad. Leave it at that.
I better just say that's sad. He said that he keeps hearing about this stuff, but a couple of people, they show no respect for God or country or the flag or the pledge and us. He didn't need to say that, but he just volunteered it. And it was damning, because what is he really saying? He's saying, I'm not imposing my religious views on the city because, back in the day, we passed a DEI resolution. He told one constituent he doesn't read her emails because he doesn't see a point to it. He blasted people like her and Joseph Richardson because they don't show respect to God, as if that's supposed to be some sort of prerequisite for speaking to the city. Weird. And he's suggesting they're not real patriots because they criticize the country and the pledge, which, by the way, both of those deserve to be criticized. So this week, I spoke to that journalist, Dworkin, and I'm like, what else did you really want to say to this guy? And one of the things, again, she was professional about it. She said, it's not enough to just pass the DEI bill. You have to act on it. And I did ask her, how come you didn't point that out? Because, you were standing right there. And she said her job was to ask tough questions. And if this guy wants to be a dick to her, these are my words, not hers, but if this guy wants to be a dick to her, her job is to just put it out there and let the voters see it for themselves. I hope they do. But I don't know if they'll care. Because, look, you expect this from Republican politicians. But a theoretically nonpartisan mayor who doesn't really deal with culture war issues, by and large, should not be acting like that. Just because he finds some people annoying doesn't mean you dismiss their suggestions. And if he doesn't want to issue the proclamation, the least he can do is explain why he's against it instead of, baselessly slandering the people pushing for it. And by the way, this guy is not nonpartisan in this sense. He has taken part in multiple city events promoting Christianity. So I don't know if this fight is over yet. I did ask Joseph Richardson if they had any plans to do anything, and he just said in a statement, Winter Garden is not a Christian city. Mayor Reese has failed over and over to be true to his oath of office. Because of this, I call on the mayor to resign immediately, which is powerful words. He's not going to, but that doesn't mean anyone should stop criticizing his irrational decisions. And it means if you live in that area in Winter Garden, you should follow up on this. You should contact your city council representatives and demand they figure out how to handle this in the future. Figure out how they're going to make sure people are not shut out because they're atheists, because they request a day of reason in response to a day of prayer, things like that. And if they're not going to respond to you, then get to work in getting them voted out. All right, what questions do we have here? What else we got? Oh man, lots of stuff about Elon Musk in here. Oh, hey, yeah, I forgot to say this. Hit the like button. Come on. Lawsuit incoming. I don't know if it's happening. It could, in theory, but also I don't know if any group wants to fight this particular battle given all the other ones that are happening. It seems like small potatoes, but it's frustrating. So I don't know if they're going to file a lawsuit yet.